Hey, got a dime? I do. Check this out. Yeah, 10-cent beer. Check it out. This is my ideal Model 70 vintage refrigerator. A few things about it. I don't know when it was made. I think it was in the late 40s. You can see there's a tag right down here that says ideal 70-something, but it's been painted over and it's hard to read, and I'm not finding a whole lot of information about exactly what serial number matches up to what year. But I can tell you that the information on the inside, which we'll show you in a minute, says that the warranty ran out in 1953. So I'm going with 52 or so at the latest. It's pretty cool. This is a Model 70, as I said, which means that it holds 70 drinks. It's called a slider because when you put the coin in, you can slide them across the rails, and then this mechanism, which is locked now, but when you put a coin in, it releases it. Let's see, they had a bunch of different models. This is not one of the more popular ones. This is kind of more like a square size, kind of a medium size. The more popular ones, it seems like right now, are the 35 and 55 models, which are kind of a different rectangular shape. This one, you load it from the side here. I'll show you how to do that. This is, I think, a 3/8 Allen key, and you unscrew this guy. There's a lock that would have come in this slot, and you can purchase a new lock for it, but I'm not worried about people stealing stuff. So this is how you load it. Check that out. This is kind of a big wooden box with fiberglass insulation, just like you'd put in your house, and then these metal skins wrapped around it. It's very simple and really cool. One of the best things about the bigger models, as opposed to the 35 and 55, is that you can remove the entire cooling unit as an assembly, and that's what I'm about to do. On the other ones, it's kind of more integrated, where you have cooling, you have refrigerant lines running through the thing that you have to disconnect and stuff like that. So the problem I'm having with this is that it's just too cold. It ices up all the time. And it has a thermostat on the inside. If I play with it, it doesn't seem to do anything, except sometimes if I get it just right, then it gets too warm. So it doesn't seem to have any setting between like 30, maybe 28 degrees and about 60 degrees. There's really no in between. But there are some companies that make replacement thermostats. So there's this guy here is what I'm going to put in. This is kind of a more generic thermostat. I also got this bracket for it, which I'm not sure I'll need. And this guy actually senses the air temperature in the unit. So in other words, the bottle temperature rather than the temperature at the evaporator. And I'll show you what the difference is with the current thermostat once I pull it out. So I think the only tool we're gonna need to do all this is a slotted screwdriver, which is also awesome. So I'm gonna start by taking this panel off the side to access all the guts. It's amazing how serviceable they used to make things. Can you imagine using a slotted screwdriver to remove the entire cooling system in your new fridge and fix it? No way. All right, so with that panel off, we can see this guy. I'm gonna take a look in there. Now this whole assembly will come out. Let's get the power cord out of the way. And then all I gotta do is unclip these guys on both sides. One, two. It is a little heavy. I'm gonna grab a piece of cardboard to protect my top here, because I'm gonna set it here to work on it. Now it's lifting time. Here we go. It's a bit of a workout, but it's doable. Okay. Doesn't it look like something that would come out of like the Rocketeer's basement? It's so cool. Very simple. Let me walk you through what I've already done on this. So when I got it, it had been sitting in a friend's carport for something like 10 or 15 years, not plugged in. It was under a tarp or a blanket or something, but it was pretty much collecting dust. One of the first things I had to do was replace the whole wiring harness, which you could still buy at the unit. So that's this power cord. It goes to this junction block here. This kind of takes a path over here to the existing thermostat. And when this thermostat tells it to turn on, it sends that power back to the block, where this guy here, the compressor, plugs in with its own wire that runs down and into here. Don't really need to mess with that today, I don't think. What else did I do? Oh, the motor. So the motor has dual shafts, one coming out either end. This one, I forget which way it spins, I think it's this way. Pushes the air out this way to cool down the compressor and these coils here. And at the same time as that is spinning, right here, you could see this one spinning inside here and hitting my finger. And that pulls the air from the evaporator here, the nice cold air, and pushes it up and out throughout this whole box. So pretty simple and pretty cool. And again, it worked once I got all the wiring done and plugged in. It just worked a little too good. So over here is where I disconnect, there we go, the existing thermostat. So this has this tube running through this plate, all the way back over here. I'm going to see if I can install the new thermostat in the existing one's place, or close enough to it. All right, so this thermostat, you can see, attaches right here to the evaporator itself. And so really it's intended to get it as cold as possible without icing it up. But as I said, it doesn't do that. It just keeps cooling and cooling and cooling until you get the whole bottom part is full of ice. It gets in the fan, gets blown around, and then during the day, if you turn it off, it melts and makes a mess on the floor. Okay. There's the existing one freed up. Now because the new one senses the bottle temp or the air temp in the unit, I don't want to mount it directly to the evaporator, so I'm just going to put this back where it was. Believe it or not, I've had a bunch of truck projects, bench projects, woodworking, other kind of stuff, but I've never actually had a vintage refrigerator. This is a first. But I just love how they used to make stuff back in the day. Good news. Yeah, I'm cutting that zip tie. I was trying to keep it to one tool. We're up to two now. I've just doubled it. Okay. Now, I'm going to get these two screws out of here and remove the existing thermostat. So again, it should have some pretty infinite adjustment, but something in here really doesn't kick in until you get it nice and cold, and then it freezes. Or nice and warm, and then it hardly doesn't. All these. Okay. Here's my part of my fancy new wiring harness. By the way, there are two companies that provide great parts to support these things still. This being a model 70, not as common, so there aren't as many parts anywhere available, but I was still able to find some stuff. Those companies are Funtronics and the Soda Jerk Works, believe it or not. Oh, one thing I should mention while I'm seeing if this fits. This is a hot rod, and it came like this when I bought it. So this is the Model 70 fridge, but if you look at this guy, there we go, Ideal Model 300. So this is the cooling system from the much larger 300 bottle unit. So we're sticking like a big block in a small car is what we're doing. Let's make these two quick connections. So let's see if that fits in that spot. It's gonna be close. I think the answer is almost. All right, let's see if we can get these a little bit more out of the way. It's really not grabbing on there very tight.
Pinch them down.
It's pretty loose. So I'm gonna grab a third tool. Just when you think. Got enough tools. Look at that little pincharoo. A little more pincharoo. There, it's nice and tight. Let's do the same for this. Okay, will it fit? So close. I think I can get it. Yeah. Look at that. The hole spacing is even perfect. Lines up and it's not going anywhere. Ooh. Ooh, you could even hear it turn on. Hear that? Something's happening. Connects power over there, right there. So I'm going to leave the 0 up, which seems to be about halfway. Seems like a good start point. This guy through kind of carefully. This is blind here, so let's see if I can. Oh yeah, lined up. First try. So I'm gonna feed it about all the way through. I don't know. Then we'll play with that placement once I install it again. So I'm just kind of tucking it out of the way for now, so that when I put it back in, it's not going to snag on anything. By the way, it was tough finding a replacement motor for this. I'm not sure there's an exact replacement motor available, but this is a kind of an off-the-shelf standard 3.5 inch dual shaft motor with a low and a high speed setting, and the low speed seemed to match what the other motor was at before. The other motor worked for a little while and then just started making a bunch of noise and then just totally died. Okay. There we go. Maybe. So I put this whole thing on casters, and as I'm pulling this, it's trying to roll away, so I'm trying to be careful here. There we go. Oh, I will say, People were stronger in the late 40s. This is pretty heavy. It must have been stronger. Okay. Try and carefully pull that back through before I push it all the way in. I'm going to open it up and make sure I'm not snagging anything from that side. Okay. So from here we could see it's starting to pop through. There's our tube that I'll route once we get it in there all the way. And I don't really see anything snagging, but I think that evaporator coil gets pretty close to this other plate. So I think I'm gonna open it up. Capturing the shoving action. Shove it. Okay. For this tube, I don't know, I might play with some different options for where it goes. The bottles are gonna hang down here, so it's obviously gonna get in the way right there. I don't want it too close to the evaporator, and I don't really want it in the air path, so I don't want to put it in here. So I'm just gonna stick it about there. See what that does for me. So I expect this to take some fine tuning with the thermostat and maybe the position of that as we go. So I'm gonna close this back up. I think I'll leave this cover off for now so I can get access to play with the tube and the thermostat in there. So let's leave that set aside. That really just helps with noise a little bit. Makes it look a little better. Making the connection. Something's happening. Well, now all we got to do is wait and see, and then check the temperature after a while and see where it's at, and then adjust and check and adjust and check and adjust and check, and hopefully this solves the icing problem, just like Iron Man. I can feel the compressor housing here physically getting warmer, and it sounds to me like it's on. You probably can't hear it there because of the fan, but it sounds to me like the compressor is in fact running like it should. Thanks for joining. Check out TrucknTractor on Instagram. Keep following along in all my adventures. Make sure and hit subscribe to follow along in all my adventures.